What are you guys going to do with those sleepy bags? Sleep in them? No, we're going to hang from the ceiling by our toes like bats. A national TV sweetheart, a reckless criminal, and a dead body in a trailer home. Dana Plato's story isn't just a tragedy, it's a haunting reflection of Hollywood itself. How it can lift a child to stardom, then abandon them in the abyss. As Kimberly on Diff'rent Strokes, Dana captured America's heart. But behind the fame came years of addiction, adult films, and a shocking armed robbery. Her sudden death in 1999, just hours after a humiliating radio appearance, was merely the final chapter in a long spiral of collapse. But what truly happened on that fateful night? Stay until the end to uncover the chilling, untold truths behind the tragedy of Dana Plato. Dana Michelle Strain was born in 1,964 inches, Maywood, California. She knew almost nothing about her beginnings, only that when she was just 7 months old, her biological mother, a teenage girl who had barely begun to understand adulthood, handed her baby away for adoption. From that moment, Dana's life took a completely different turn. Her adoptive parents, Dean and Florine Plato, brought her to their small home in the San Fernando Valley. To Florine, Dana wasn't just a daughter. She was a project, a chance to fulfill the dream her mother never could. Florine wanted her little girl to shine, no matter the cost. When the marriage fell apart, Dana became the sole focus of her single mother's life. But this time, the attention was overwhelming. Florine was determined to push her daughter into show business, taking her to countless auditions, photo sessions, and every tiny opportunity that might open a door into the glittering world of Hollywood. Before she even reached her teenage years, Dana had already appeared in over 100 television commercials. But for her ambitious mother, that still wasn't enough. Florine wanted her daughter to be seen on the big screen. At just 13, Dana landed 2 roles in The Exorcist II, The Heretic and Return to Boggy Creek, both horror sequels that were harshly criticized by reviewers. Still, her talent and bright presence didn't go unnoticed. A year later, she appeared in California Suite, a well-received film that opened a new path for her. But just when it seemed like everything was beginning, fate gave Dana an unexpected twist. During a talent audition for The Gong Show, she caught the attention of a television producer who invited her to try out for a new sitcom called Diff'rent Strokes. It was the kind of opportunity hundreds of girls dreamed of, but Dana hesitated. At the same time, she was training to join the U.S. Olympic figure skating team. At 13, she stood at a crossroads. One path led to her passion, the other to fame. Dana chose acting, and years later, she would call it the biggest mistake of my life. The TV show Diff'rent Strokes premiered and quickly became a nationwide phenomenon. Dana brought to life Kimberly Drummond, the kind-hearted daughter of a wealthy man who adopts 2 orphan black boys. Alongside Todd Bridges and Gary Coleman, the trio became cultural icons of late 1970s American television. But behind the laughter and innocent dialogue lay a harsh reality. Children who became famous too young, trapped under the weight of pressure, grueling work schedules, and adult expectations. While the adults chased profits, the 3 child stars found their own way to cope. Dana, Todd, and Gary began drinking and using drugs. For Dana, the addiction soon consumed everything. Some mornings, it took her hours just to be sober enough to make it to the set. At the height of her fame, her mother, Florine, grew increasingly paranoid. She feared that someone might kidnap Dana, terrified of losing the star she had built from scratch. But the real threat came from within her own family. Dana's adoptive father, Dean, who had been absent for years, suddenly resurfaced once she became famous. He didn't come to check on her, he came to sue her for financial support. When the lawsuit failed, Dana kept working tirelessly on Diff'rent Strokes, but her personal life began to fall apart. At 18, she married rock guitarist Lanny Lambert and soon became pregnant. For a family-friendly sitcom like Diff'rent Strokes, a teenage actress with a baby was unacceptable. At the same time, the press started exposing her drinking and drug problems. The growing media pressure, personal scandals, and shifting image led producers to remove Dana from the show. Everything collapsed in an instant. In 1988, Dana Plato's life was hit by a devastating double blow. Within a single week, she lost the 2 people she loved most. Her mother died from a rare skin disease, and her marriage fell apart. She no longer had a mother to lean on, a husband to share her burdens with, or a place in the entertainment industry that had already turned its back on former child stars. Financial pressure soon began to crush her. Exhausted and overwhelmed, Dana handed full control of her finances to her accountant, a man she trusted completely. But that trust would destroy her all over again. Not long after, the man disappeared, taking nearly all of her money with him. Dana was left with only $200,000, a pitiful fraction of what she had earned during her Diff'rent Strokes glory days. Later, it was revealed that he had defrauded not just Dana, but several others, stealing nearly $12 million in total. When her divorce was finalized, the court granted custody of her son to her ex-husband. A crushing blow. The woman once adored by all of America was now utterly alone. No husband, no mother, no child, and no career. Yet, even in despair, Dana tried to reclaim her lost fame. She decided to shed the image of sweet Kimberly Drummond and made a shocking move that stunned Hollywood. She posed nude for Playboy. She hoped it would mark a new beginning, a rebirth. But instead of opening a new door, it pushed her further into darkness. Her later film roles from Prime Suspect 1989 to Bikini Beach Race only turned her into a punchline. In one infamous scene, she appeared in lingerie while driving a bed car, and the tabloids mocked her relentlessly. Her once bright career was now reduced to a handful of racy photos and a string of embarrassing B-movies. Drained both emotionally and financially, Dana spiraled into panic and despair. In 1991, in a moment of desperation, she burst into a video rental store, pointed an air gun at the cashier, and shouted, "Give me all the money." The girl who once symbolized America's innocence had become a robber. After grabbing $164, Dana fled. But minutes later, she returned. Some said it was out of guilt. But according to Heather Dale, the store clerk, Dana actually came back because she had dropped her glasses. Whatever the reason, police were already waiting. When they handcuffed her, she simply lowered her head and said nothing. The story of Kimberly the video store robber exploded across every headline in America. In jail, Dana was utterly alone. No visitors, no bail money, no one left to call. Then a small miracle happened. Wayne Newton, the legendary entertainer known as Mr. in Las Vegas, heard about her case and decided to help. He had never met Dana, but he paid $15,000 to bail her out. The judge showed mercy, recognizing that she had used an air gun and acted out of desperation. The court sentenced her to 5 years of probation instead of prison time. Still, the incident shocked the nation. Newspapers everywhere asked the same question: why do child stars always end in tragedy? At that very moment, Dana's former Diff'rent Strokes co-stars Gary Coleman and Todd Bridges were also mired in scandal. One bankrupt, the other facing criminal charges. A year later, Dana made a surprising return, this time in a field no one expected: video games. Night Trap 1992 was one of the first games to feature live-action actors, telling the story of a group of teenage girls having a sleepover in a house monitored by hidden security cameras. The player's mission was to protect them from masked intruders. But what seemed like harmless entertainment soon sparked outrage in the U.S. Congress, where several lawmakers accused Night Trap of containing pornographic and morally inappropriate content. The game was banned, and once again, Dana became a symbol of controversy. That same year, she turned herself into police for forging a prescription to obtain the sedative diazepam. This time, the court showed no mercy. Dana was sentenced to 30 days in jail for violating her probation. After serving her sentence, she entered a mandatory drug rehabilitation program. But the world outside remained as cold as ever. No work, no money, no friends. Throughout the 1,990 seconds, Dana drifted from one odd job to another just to survive. Some people recalled taking their laundry to a small dry cleaner in Los Angeles and realizing that the woman who handed them their clothes was the once famous TV star. Dana always smiled, bowed politely, and said, "Thank you," never showing shame. She would simply whisper, "Life has to go on." But behind that quiet smile was a deep and endless despair. With every door in the entertainment industry shut, Dana had lost not only her fame, but her faith in herself. In 1997, a producer offered her a role in an adult film titled Diff'rent Strokes, the story of Jack and Jill. And Jill, a cruel parody of the very show that had once made her a star. Dana knew it was a desperate gamble, but she needed the money, and perhaps she needed to be seen again, even if just once. While the public mocked and condemned her, Dana still tried to hold on to a shred of dignity. By her side was her manager and fiancé, Robert Manaka, the only person who still believed she could rebuild her life. They lived together in an old Winnebago, traveling across Florida. Life was poor and uncertain, but for a brief moment, Dana felt something she hadn't felt in years. She felt loved. A year later, Dana appeared in Desperation Boulevard, a film about a washed-up former child star trying to rebuild her career. The role felt as if it had been written for her. Many believed it marked the beginning of a comeback, but fate was quietly preparing her final fall. An old roommate suddenly accused Dana of still being addicted to drugs. Furious, she decided to go on the Howard Stern show, hosted by the shock jock, famous for his provocative style to prove she was clean. On live radio, Dana spoke candidly about her life and her pain, insisting she had been sober for 10 years. But the audience wasn't looking for redemption. They wanted blood. They wanted drama. The calls poured in. Insults, mockery, cruelty. Dana sat there, forcing a smile as her heart broke inside. To prove her honesty, she agreed to let Stern cut a lock of her hair for a drug test. But moments after the show ended, she weakly asked for the hair back and admitted she was still taking painkillers. Just because I had my wisdom teeth removed 4 months ago, the studio fell silent. She knew in that instant that all her efforts to rebuild her image had collapsed. After that day, Dana and her fiancé, Robert Manaka, left the city and drove their old RV to visit his mother in Oklahoma. Along the way, Dana said she felt tired and wanted to rest. That night, she took painkillers along with muscle relaxants just to help her sleep better. When Manaka woke up the next morning, Dana was gone. Her body was cold and still, as if she had finally found the deep sleep she'd been searching for all her life. At first, police believed it was an accident, but the autopsy revealed she had taken a dosage far beyond the therapeutic range, and her death was ruled a suicide. Dana Plato died at the age of 34, her unfinished dreams fading with her. She was cremated and her ashes were scattered over the Pacific Ocean. In her bank account, only $1,000 remained. Her son Tyler was just 14 years old. He once said he wanted to make mom proud, to find fame through music rather than acting. But the shadow of addiction seemed to run in his bloodline. Despite love and support from those around him, Tyler couldn't escape his depression and loneliness. In 2010, just days before Mother's Day, he shot himself, ending a tragedy that had stretched across 2 generations. 20 years later, Todd Bridges, Dana's Diff'rent Strokes co-star, posted a short tribute online. She made millions laugh. "I just wish Hollywood had given her a little love in return." The image of young Dana smiling brightly, eyes full of hope, remains frozen in time, a haunting reminder of what once was. To some, she is the cautionary tale of a fallen child star. But perhaps more truthfully, Dana was just a fragile girl swallowed whole by Hollywood before she ever had the chance to grow up. And somewhere beyond the cold waves of the Pacific, perhaps her soul is finally smiling. Not for the cameras this time, but because she has at last found peace.
you.